So Jesus is just gone back to his hometown. People don't give him the respect that he deserves. They kind of ignore what he's saying. And so Jesus begins a program to evangelize the rest of Galilee. Jesus went around teaching from village to village. Then, calling the 12 to him, he sent them out two by two and gave them authority over evil spirits. These were his instructions: take nothing for the journey except a staff, no bread, no bag, no money in your belts. Wear sandals, but not an extra tunic. Whenever you enter a house, stay there until you leave that town. If any place will not welcome you or listen to you, shake the dust off your feet when you leave as a testimony against them. And they went out and they began to do what Jesus had asked them. The thing that captures my attention here is that he sent them out two by two. He sent them out to do ministry, but he sent them in pairs. Now, one of the things that we are trying to do as a church is minister, is go out and make a difference in the lives of people. There is probably a tendency on our part to do that alone. Jesus sent his disciples out two by two. Uh, Very, very interesting. Some of you know that I was a missionary in Colombia before I worked here at New Hope. During that time, it was a very difficult time in Colombia. Um, way back, way back in the late 80s, early 90s, Pablo Escobar was a drug lord, and two competing drug cartels in Colombia had pretty much destabilized the country. Murder was rampant. In fact, murder was the number one killer during that time. During that time, I was friends with the man who ran the Colombian branch of Compassion International, Compassion Colombia. His name was Abraham. One day, Abraham called me and he said, I want to talk to you. I met him in his office, and he handed me a card. I looked at the card, and it was an invitation to Abraham's funeral. And the date was about 2 weeks in the future. I said, what in the world is this? He said, I just received this in the mail. A death threat. Wow. He had done something that somebody didn't like. And so they sent him an invitation to his own funeral 2 weeks in the future. I said, why are you telling me? He said, because I need somebody. He said, we have got to work in pairs. Jesus always sent his disciples two by two. We have to do the same thing. We can give support to each other. We can be there for each other. We can be a sounding board for each other. So I tried to do that. The death threat was empty. Nothing happened. And then about 5 months later, I got my invitation to my funeral about a month in the future. One of the first people I called was Abraham and said, hey, buddy, it's your turn now. Jesus sent his disciples out in twos, in pairs. And it's important that we minister in pairs. There's several reasons, but some of the reasons, first of all, we do ministry together. I mean, if there's two of us doing the ministry, it just makes it twice as easy for us. Secondly, we can give each other moral support. Now, that's what Abraham was looking for. That's what I was looking for. Not necessarily a bodyguard, not necessarily someone who could do something for me, but someone who could hear me, someone that I could talk to, bare my soul to. The third reason is that after the ministry, there is someone there who can debrief with us. We can talk about the actual ministry with. Incredibly important. I want to encourage you today. to do ministry, to go out, to find a way to love more. But do it in pairs. Go with someone who can help you. Tomorrow, we'll come back together and we'll take a look at what appears to be a parenthesis in the book of Mark. Suddenly, we start talking about John the Baptist. Incredibly important for what the disciples are doing right at that time. See you tomorrow.